What's good, YouTube? Welcome to my channel, man. My name is DivaTequila. I appreciate you being here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I want to go through what I feel like are the ideal pals to have in your party and at your base. This is obviously just going to be my opinion. This is what I'm kind of rocking with at the moment. And I also want to touch on what the variations would be for the different goals that you have in mind. So currently this is my setup. This is a very well-rounded setup in my opinion. It allows me to tackle, I can pretty much traverse all of the terrains. I can take on most of the bosses. Would need to make maybe one or two tweaks for the different legendaries and the different towers, but for just exploring the map and taking out all of the different alphas, farming up mats and everything, this is what I like. I have a maxed out Anubis currently. 1253 attacks, so that's really good. I feel like I taught him these other fire moves just to give him a little bit more versatility, which really helped me out in clearing Frostallion. I do have all of the legendaries now. I actually just finished that up tonight, so that's pretty dope. But you can see we got the ferocious, the aggressive, the hard skin here. I would ideally have that swift on something else, but it is what it is. My Pin King here is actually, I feel like, a little bit of a sleeper pick. Having water and ice allows you to be, a bit more viable to multiple playstyles. The reason why I started using Pin King was because I got taken out by Jet Dragon like 3 or 4 times before I was finally able to capture Jet Dragon. So I was really kind of just going through the POW deck and going through my roster to see what combinations, what breedings I can make happen to give myself a strong ice roster. Fell in love with this POW King that I bred. Obviously we got Musclehead, Ferocious, and Aggressive here, so plus 30, 20, we got plus 60% attack here. You can see that he would only have 692, but we're up to 1107. I've obviously put a few POW souls into him to upgrade. He's at 2 stars now as well, so we've already got a lot of coverage there with the Anubis having ground, neutral, and fire. Pin King having water and ice, both of them having over 1000 attack power. Then we come to my new baby, my Astagon. I don't have the saddle for him at the moment. I don't really care because I have my Jet Dragon in the party, as you can see, but we've got a big 1500 attack currently, and he's not even maxed stars. I have put all of the POW souls in to raise him all the way up in that aspect, but we've got Legend, we've got Musclehead, we've got Divine Dragon, which doesn't actually show you over here as an increased attack, but for all of his dragon attacks he gets 20% increased dragon attack damage, and you can see that he does have more dragon attacks he can use as well. The reason why I have the multiple dark attacks on at the moment is because I just finished up doing Palladius and Necromus, and having this combination right here of dark and dragon allowed me to really primarily use Astagon for that fight. I would cycle him out as his health got low, but this was my primary fighter for that. And also you have decrease to incoming dragon damage as well, which is really nice. So big 1500 attack there. My Blasmut is my weakest fire damage monster that I have, but obviously I'm using my Astagon primarily for the dragon and dark. I think he has one fire move, so using Astagon as dark and dragon. So my Blasmut is my fire POW. Obviously I have Anubis with a few power moves as well, but we have Flame Emperor on the Blasmut, which gives you a 20% increase to the fire attack damage. We also got Musclehead on this one as well, so very good there. So you got an 851. I haven't put any POW souls into this one. I haven't done any form of breeding or anything. This was actually just the Blasmut that I caught as an alpha boss. My first one that I captured had Musclehead, Flame Emperor, so felt really good with that. Because obviously he has really strong fire moves as it is, plus 20% increased fire attack damage. He helped me out quite a bit against Frostallion, so that's pretty dope right there. I'll eventually start breeding some Blasmuts with themselves so I can increase my condensation level there, but just as is, the 851 is deceptive because he hits like a truck against ice pals. And then we have Jet Dragon, obviously the rarest legendary, one of the hardest legendaries to capture. Got Legend and Divine Dragon. The Logging Foreman is irrelevant, but unfortunately I haven't captured multiples of Jet Dragon yet. I'll eventually get to where I'm starting to capture more Jet Dragons and Palladius and Necromuses and stuff to try to breed like the perfect one. But for now we have Legend and Divine Dragon, which is good enough. This is primarily my mount that I use. I pretty much start off all of my engagements with Jet Dragon because I show up on the mount. I use my missile launcher, I use my dragon meteor, the fireball, beam comet, use all of my cooldowns, and then I'll cycle into whatever pal I'm going to be using for the you know, majority of the fight. But still, 931 attack is good, 680 defense. You don't really have too much to worry about, because if your jet dragon gets low on health, obviously like, any of your pals get low on health, you obviously just cycle them out as the fight goes. If you know that your pal's getting ready to take like a big damage move from whoever you're facing, just pull them out before the damage hits, and then you really don't have too much to worry about your pals dying. So that's the main ones that I use in my party. Like I said, it's kind of situational depending on what boss you're trying to face. Some of the changes that I do frequently make are the Jormuntide Ignis. I think I have a level 50 Jormuntide Ignis here. Yeah, Jormuntide Ignis, before I got Blasma, it was a really good fire pick. Before I got Jet Dragon, I would use my Finglope as my ground mount. I think Finglope's the fastest ground mount that you can have. Although now that I have Palladius, this Palladius does have Legend and Swift. It's the triple mount instead of the double mount, so that's a really good mount to have. This one actually came with, like, I would say perfect stats. Obviously this Brave I'd prefer it to probably be Ferocious, but just got this one and it came with some really good stats. So you could swap out the Palladius. If you wanted to just, cheese and just go with the full legendary roster, you could obviously go Palladius, Necromus, Frostallion Noct, Jet Dragon, and then, Frostallion as well, which I actually have in there currently breeding with Helzaphyr to get as many Frostallion Nocts as I can. But you can go with the full legendary roster if you want to, and that does give you some good coverage. But like I said, this is my well-rounded roster. This allows me to cover pretty much everything that I need. You can make some other changes as you need, like as you're facing Jet Dragon, you obviously want to have more ice pals. So just like a regular Jormuntide would be good. Let me see, if you're struggling to find out which pals would be best, instead of just going through the pal deck and just trying to check which ones the elements are, you can just sort by element up here, and you can kind of look and see to just give you like a little jump off point, and you can just go straight to, like, for at the moment, just looking at ice pals. So like you see I have a whole bunch of Chillets at the moment. I was trying to capture some Chillets that gave me aggressive and ferocious and brave. I ended up getting the Pin King the way I wanted to before that actually happened. But yeah, you can kind of look that way and see, like, Mammorest Christ. Mammorest typically have some pretty good base attack. Even the Reptiro Christ, the King Paka Christ isn't bad either. But again, it really comes down to stacking up as many passives as you can on those strong elemental ones, because you want to take advantage of the element difference, and you also want to stack up as many passives as you can. And then once I had all three passives that I wanted on Pin King, then I rose up the Pin King as much as I could at that time. So 1100 attack damage, 3 good passives, and he has the ice advantage over Jet Dragon. So that's kind of how you want to play it out. If you're going for like your first Blasmut, then you can go with Pin King, you can go with Jormuntide. You want to look for your water pals in that instance. But so that's how I decide which pals I'm going to keep in my party. Obviously it's a good idea to focus on like your core group. Like, you're going to have 2 or 3 pals that are going to stay in your party at all times. For me at the moment, that's going to be Jet Dragon, Astagon, and my Anubis. Those are my 3 highest attack powers, but they also have a lot of versatility in terms of what attacks they can do. Anubis obviously has Earth just by nature, but I've taught him some fire moves. He also has neutral moves. My Astagon has Fire, Dark, and Dragon, and then Jet Dragon is my my mount. So those are my 3 main ones. But you do want to level up those other mounts as well to just kind of help you out. The ones that you're going to swap in. So like my Beacon was my mount that also covered electricity for me for a bit. I think I'd like to level up a good Grisbolt. I think that the minigun passive is pretty dope. So, but that'll take some more for me. So anyway, that's how I have my party built. That's kind of the guidelines that I keep in mind. Obviously trying to take advantage of the elemental differences and such. But talking about the pals at your base, I like to. At my main base here, this one's kind of like my jack of all trades base. You can see that I've got my assembly lines here. I have a ranch here. I've got 2 little cooking pots here. I've got 1 breeding farm. I've got the little thing over there that turns flour into wheat. I have a tomato plantation. I have a wheat plantation, 2 berry plantations. I've got the crusher here to turn my stone into palladium fragments. I've got all my stone here, my electric furnace, Got my electricity. Got a wood chopper. Got a bunch of beds. Can't really fit too many large beds in, unfortunately, at this base. This base isn't as spacious as I would like it, but I develop an emotional attachment to my things in the game as the game goes by. This was the first base that I made. I just randomly threw down this PAL box. So this is not like an optimal base at all, but I just didn't want to disband it, so I've kind of made it my own little home base as time has gone by. Up here I've got some of my crafting benches and my tower of power. So yeah, so anyways, I like to use as many Anubises as I can for my base. You can see that this one has Artisan, this has Artisan, this has Serious and Artisan, so this one has, you know, plus 70% work speed, and then this one has Artisan as well. So they obviously cover, you know, anytime I need to craft anything, they help me out. I also have my Anubis that's in my party that has level 5 handiwork, so I just throw him out to work beside me. But they also mine really fast. You'll notice that I like the pals that are actually going to be like roaming around and either transporting or mining and such. I don't like to have too many big pals because I find that they glitch out more often, they get stuck on each other more often. So yeah, so I try to make use of the fact that Anubis is really efficient but also small, so that's nice. I have Rayhound, which obviously isn't the best at electric, but then I have that bolstered with I did have a Jolt Hog. I was using a Jolt Hog as well, so whenever Rayhound was tired, I had a little Jolt Hog that I would use as well. You see that I have it to where I can use 20 pals at once, but I find that having 20 pals out, they usually all get stuck. But anyways, so with the Rayhound, with only having level 2 electricity, I pretty much never drop under 100% power capacity, so that's really nice. I have a lot of lamps set up. I have a few ceiling lamps set up. I have all my assembly lines, so don't really have too much to worry about. I'll eventually upgrade this Rayhound for an Orzerk, but just haven't gotten there yet is all. So if you're looking for your electric pal, I use Rayhound. That's just because I think he's kind of cute. He's small, he's efficient, he's also got Swift, so he can run around quickly. But anyways, for my plantations, for all of my farming needs and everything, I use 2 Patalias and a Verdash at the moment. You can see that Patalia and Verdash are very similar in what they can do. They're just slightly different in the sense that Patalia has 3 planting versus Verdash having 2 planting, but Verdash has the 3 gathering, whereas Patalia has 2 gathering. So I feel like they complement each other really well. And then I have Serpent and Azarobe currently as my waterers. Ideally, I would go ahead and swap this Serpent out for another Azarobe. Just been kind of dragging my feet on that one. I think my other base has 2 Azarobes. I just haven't put another one out there. It's like this one has Artisan, right? So anyways, I'll use 2 Azarobes for their watering capabilities. These pals here are all the ones that I keep in my ranch. So I have a Bee-Guard, a Mozzarina, and a Chickpea, and that's mainly because those are the pals that you need for your cake production. So you see we've got our honey, we've got our eggs, we've got our milk, and then obviously I've got the multiple berry plantations going, so I've got quite a bit of resources ready to make as many cakes that I needed to. So right now I can make 30 cakes. My limiting factor would be my eggs. So anyways, you keep those in your base. I also have a Crimis in there as well. Let me see, where's that Crimis at? Yeah, I got a Crimis in there that also has Artisan. Crimis is a bit better at wool production versus the Lamball. Also has Artisan as well, so I've got a lot of wool being made constantly. My Frostallion and my Hellzephyr are actually just out right now because they're breeding. Usually this base is capped out at 16 unless I have 2 actively breeding. And then my Blazehow and my Suzaku are for my kindling. So I pretty much always have some cakes being made, and I usually always have something being made here at the furnace as well. Obviously at the moment I'm just making a video, so I'm chilling, but so usually I have those 2 pals going because I want to constantly be making some things. If I'm in a rush, like I want to quickly turn out some palmetto ingots, or I want to make some cakes as quickly as possible, then usually what I'll do is I'll grab a Jormuntide Ignis for my Blazamut, and I usually just swap it out my fire for my fire, just because, you know, either OCD in my brain, or also if I leave the base I want to still have a fire pal with me. But Jormuntide Ignis gets to level 5 kindling, so if I get into a rush where I want to have a cake made as quickly as possible, or if I need to cook some food, or I want to get my palmetto ingots turned out, then I'll pull my Jormuntide Ignis out. But I don't like leaving Jormuntide Ignis in my base for the previously mentioned issue of just kind of big and clunky, kind of glitches out quite a bit and gets stuck on things. But see, I've got quite a bit of cakes already, cranking out my eggs. We'll go ahead and go over to my second base at the moment just so you can see what we've got there. This base location right here, by the way, 186, -37. I think this is the best base location for like your ore and coal farm. Obviously everything's sleeping, so you can't really see everybody cranking everything out, but you can see all of the ore that's scattered around for me to gather. I had just recently pulled all my coal and ore over to my other base to turn them into ingots. So they typically, I would say, like in one like game day, if I go through and like gather all this stuff, I typically get about 1,000 ore and like 1,500 coal like per game day. So really efficient on that, to be honest with you. But look at the pals we've got here. I've got 5 Anubis here. All of them either have Artisan and Serious or some combination. So this one has Artisan and Serious. This one has Artisan. This one has Serious, Serious, and Serious. So trying to really, again, take advantage of the fact that Anubis is small, so usually never glitches out. Also works really well. This one also has Conceited as well. So we got Artisan, Serious, and Conceited. So what's that? 70. That's an 80% increased work speed. Obviously really good. I use my Tombats mainly because they work all through the night. It's really good, obviously, for transporting and mining and gathering. So they do the 3 things that I need at this base. All I have at this base is mining production, and then I've got a few little berry plantations over there just to keep everybody fed. We've got we've got 3 hot tubs over here just to keep everybody happy. I've only had to administer medicine to pals on this base twice, and that was as I was getting everything set up. I didn't have the hot tubs made yet. Obviously, you can see that's just a regular hot spring. That's just a regular hot spring. I've got my one big one here, so if I come here and it says that one of them's like upset and is refusing to work, then I just manually pick them up and throw them in there. I've got, I think, 5 food boxes here as well. So anyways, trying to keep everything balanced. So we've got those 2, they work through the night. We've got the 2 goer rats here. The main reason why we have them is for the level 3 transporting. I recognize that I could use like the Wombos or the Wombo Batans, but every time I use them, I come back and they're glitched out. They're either stuck outside of the base or they're stuck on top of each other. Although they're more efficient in theory, I found that they're less efficient in practice. The goer rats, and then I have the 2 van worms as well. So all 4 of those are mainly being used for transporting here on this base. I have the combination of having 2 flying with the 2 ground ones just because they seem to not glitch out and get stuck on each other as much. That could just be my observation, but my observation's my reality, right? So also the good thing about the van worm and the van worm Christ is they work all throughout the night. So you've got 2 Tombats and 2 van worms working all throughout the night, doing all of their additional mining and transporting. And then for my berry plantation over there, I've got the combination of the Patalias with the Serpents again, which now that I've captured more Azurubs, I'll probably just go ahead and swap out my Serpents as well for more Azurubs if I can find it. Whatever, but I haven't ran out of food on this base at all. You can see I've got quite a bit of baked berries. Typically what I do is I usually try to gather like 1,000 berries at a time, cook all my berries, and then, you know, just disseminate them amongst the boxes. This 161 here, there's probably like 200 in that one, probably like 300 in that one, you know what I mean? So I've never ran out of food. The Azurubs would be, I guess, slightly more efficient at watering, but the Serpents are also slightly smaller, so there's a trade-off there. But anyways, that's the pals that I have at my 2 bases. I'll be making my 3rd base soon. It's probably gonna have just like 4 breeding farms on it. Probably gonna do 4 breeding farms. Each one of the breeding farms will have 2 beds in there, and each breeding farm will also have its own feed box in there as well. And I'll just bring a bunch of baked berries in like the first time I set it up, and then every couple of like in real life days I'll drop off more berries there. But yeah, so that is my opinion on the best pals to have in your party and the best pals to have in your base. Obviously it's subject to change depending on what like the main function of your base is, but For my mining base, this is what I like. I showed you what I have back at my main base. There's obviously a few swaps you can make, like the azurobes for the serpents will be better for watering. If you're in a pinch and you're trying to get things watered as quickly as possible, like to make Paldium fragments, and just put a Jormuntide in your party and then manually throw that out and let them do it. But I don't like having too many big pals at my base because they tend to just get stuck on each other a bunch and glitch out, and the efficiency rate just goes down significantly. But yeah, man, so that's my preference on pals. That's the ones that I choose to have in my party. That's the ones that I choose to have in my base. If you found this helpful, let me know, man. Leave a like and a comment. Subscribe if you aren't already. I've really been enjoying my Pal World adventures. Excited to see where it takes me next. I've captured all of the legendary pals. Now I'm working on clearing all of the towers. I've captured all of the alphas in the game. I think I've got like 4 pals left to have all of the pals captured. And then I'm going to try to get 10 of each of the pals, which I've only got a couple left to do that as well. So we're approaching what I would consider to be like 100% base completion. And then obviously I want to get like all of my preferred pals. I want to go ahead and start reading and condensing all of them up to like max star level as well. And get all of them increased with like the pal souls and all that stuff. So that's what I'll be working on as time goes by, man. I've really been enjoying myself. I hope you have been as well. If you stuck around this long, know that I love you. I appreciate you, man. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm finishing this video up right around midnight, February 13th. So I just turned 30 years old. So February 13th is my birthday. I'm officially 30. Very exciting, man. Life is obviously very interesting. Blessed to be here. Very fortunate for the life that I live. Yeah, man, I appreciate you. I love you. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Peace.